So for this project, I was actually commissioned by my dad to make a cake knife for his wedding. I really wasn't certain how to do it, so I found a few different designs. Finally found one that I actually thought would work really well. If you've been watching for a while, I make more like combat type stuff. You know, not really cake knives. I mean, I've kind of done it, but this is a bit different than I'm used to. But, you know, as per my usual, I got this nice chunk of leaf spring here. This is a cake knife. It won't have to be as durable as most of my, like, you know, fighting knives and stuff. But, you know, you still want it to be as high quality as you can. So, yeah, this is going to be an interesting build. A little different than I'm used to, but should go well. Although, unfortunately, Amazon doesn't give a free shipping on giant squids, so I'm not going to be able to have any Lovecraftian style shenanigans at the wedding, so there goes my fun. Okay, now that I have the rough forging of this done, this thing is really wide, but I think most cake knives kind of are. I think they're kind of meant to also, you know, serve the slices as well. At least that's kind of how it's described to me. Again, I'm not certain. I'm not a chef or a baker. Yeah, I'd be a baker. Chefs cook food. Bakers bake things. Anyway, so I have it forged out. The tip, try not to drop that on my foot. I'm going to take a cutoff wheel and just kind of cut a little bit here. Not really for any good reason, just a little bit of, you know, aesthetic. And then, of course, grind it all flat, nice and smooth. Since this is going to actually be used for serving cake, I can't leave, you know, rough forged, you know, look. They might look kind of cool, and in the context, that might not be the worst look, but again, for serving food, you don't want this rough, crunchy texture. And then, of course, you know, I'll have to grind down the tang a little bit. I made it way longer than I needed to because this isn't a combat knife. The tang won't go all the way through. I'd probably go most of the way through if you saw the Farrier's rasp knife that I uploaded a couple weeks ago. I had to double check though, I think it's a couple weeks. Yeah, a couple weeks ago. It had a similar setup where the tang didn't go quite all the way through. Enough to where, you know, it's not going to break if you hit it on something. Although, if you're hitting this knife against something and your tang breaks, you're definitely misusing it, because cake isn't hard. At least it shouldn't be. Although I have had some pretty hard cake. Not important. So, yeah, I'm going to stop talking and start grinding. Okay, so now that I have my blade sanded out, have it nice and engraved for the lovely couple, basically all I have left to do is heat treat, temper, and then of course polish this out, which I'll have to do by hand because all the sanding grits I can get here to like 120, and I want this to go up to like 2500. So gotta do that by hand. Worth it, just a lot of work. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the handle, which I have these oak scales that I cut out. Just, I think it's like 1/2 inch oak. I just take a chisel out my groove, glue a second piece on it. Pretty simple technique. Since this isn't full tang, of course, I'm going to drill a pinhole. I was going to do it before I heat treat this, but then I remembered that the tang's not hardened. That's the thing I've always heard with blades. Making blades is never harden the tang. The tang should remain soft. It should bend before it breaks. That's what I've heard. I mean, I'm not a professional, but that's what I go off of. So we'll have a brass pin going through it to hold it in place. I mean, it's a cake knife, so it doesn't have to, be technically full tang. I could probably have the tang stop like here, and it wouldn't make a difference. Probably. But I made it long because that's just what I'm used to. So I'm going to start doing some chiseling and then glue it together. And then heat treat that, of course. Okay, now that my blade is polished out to 3000 grit plus buffing wheel, that took way longer than I wanted it to. I was hoping to be at this point last night, but I'm not, so here I am. So my basic plan is I'm going to take my handle, which I've already glued together, as you have previously seen, hammer it onto here, and then drill a hole, so that way this 3/16 brass pin was brass rod that I chopped down, can go through it, and then I'll fill this with JB Weld, as well as put a little bit on this, put that through the hole, and then let that dry. I'm not going to have this go all the way up, because I just want a little bit of the tang showing. Usually I would also shape this before I attach onto here, but I decided since this isn't going to go all the way up, there's no guard or anything, I'm going to shape it after it's attached. So that way it's a little more uniform for that. So, yeah, just stick this on here. Ta-da! Okay, there should be a little brass pin somewhere. And now now that we have the epoxy dried, I sanded down the pins on either side. The camera will go in the focus there. Now all we have left to do is just sand out the handle. My basic plan is just gonna put in this vise, take a rasp, just kind of take the bulk of it down. Use a belt sander a little bit to kind of finish up some stuff, and then hand sand it smooth, and then get a nice wood stain with linseed oil, of course. Okay, and there you have a kitchen cake knife thing. I'm not gonna lie, just holding this just feels strange. I don't know. It'll definitely work for what it's used for, or for what I made it for, but I don't know, just very odd. See a reflection in it. Let's see. Yeah. I don't know, it feels a little cloudy in it, but I think it's just the oil I used because I had canola oil. I didn't have this is the only kitchen oil I had, and basically it's either boiled linseed oil or gun oil, both of which I'm pretty sure cause cancer if you ingest them. So, yeah, no. Okay, boiled linseed oil probably won't, but I think gun oil will. Anyway, so definitely an interesting build, and I hope it I hope it serves the couple well. And if not, it's definitely an interesting conversation piece. I do apologize for lack of any real test in this, because I don't really want to use this for like slicing up water bottles or watermelons or something. And it just kind of feels wrong to buy like a cheap cake and cut up with it, especially for the ceremonial purposes of a knife like this. It just feels wrong to waste it on something like that. So I'll probably just have something in the beginning of it, like just a clip of what it looks like or something, instead of my usual test. And I do apologize for that. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and hope to see you next time.